Selena, it's so nice to meet you. And I know your dad. Everyone knows your dad, Randy Lemon, who is our garden line guide and radio guy extraordinaire. And he says to me the other day, Dana, you have to listen to my daughter. Her voice, it's like she's an angel. And so I was like, well, send me this stuff. Send it to me. And it's a spectacular voice you have.
Oh, thank you.
I need to learn the history because a lot of times I do these podcasts, these women have reached success and they're amazing. And here I get to talk to a 15-year-old who is just starting out, but yet you have this gift. So my first question to you is, how did you know you were going to be a singer?
Well, I had always done singing since I was little. My parents put me in piano lessons and guitar lessons and things like that. So I started taking vocal lessons because I liked to sing along with the piano. And so my teachers were like, yeah, she needs to go into vocal lessons. She's just constantly singing. So I had grown up taking vocal lessons and doing all that, but I think I didn't realize this is what I want to do. And this is my passion till I was in middle school. And I had been doing it for a while now. And I was just nothing else makes me happier. And to this day,
wow.
Still nothing else relieves everything that I have in me, all anxiety, angst, or happiness, any emotion is just put into communication through a form of art. And I never understood that till I got a little bit older. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Do you know how lucky you are to have this? So many people wake up and go, I don't know what my purpose is. Even adults, I don't know what my purpose is. Your dad obviously found his, and for you to be so young and find yours. So where are you as a 15-year-old? You've got school. I know dad said you're in cross country track. And so how is music going to factor into your world, your future? And what are you doing about it now?
It's definitely hard. I do a lot of things at my school. I'm in cross country, student council, choir, I'm doing theater, just all over the place,
right.
Constantly involved. So doing my personal music is another thing that kind of just floats over me a lot. And it's kind of oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this? But recently I've just been songwriting a lot more, creating new melodies, producing, just working a lot during the summer, so that way I have it all lined up. And I think I'm just going to try every extra little time I get throughout the school year and in breaks, Christmas break and all that. I'm just trying to fit in as much creativity as possible. And so I'm I just am that in whenever inspiration comes to me, I'm I have to write it down right now. So I've definitely gone to the restroom in the middle of class and been singing a melody into my phone, or write down a verse that I think would be cool, because I'm inspiration just is constantly there. So it's I can't just put everything on hold because school starting up and things like that. So it's just a matter of being dedicated and being committed to what I've already started.
That is so cool. All right. Who is your inspiration? Or do you not have an inspiration and you're your inspiration?
Well, I definitely have a couple of inspiration artists. My first one that comes to mind is Aretha Franklin, all the way. I've grown up with listening to her, and just going into her songwriting. She puts a lot of honesty. It's very abrupt. And whenever she did interviews, she talked about how she was a realist. She wanted people to relate to her songs, and she didn't want to hold anything back. So when I create music and I start to write, and I'm working at the piano and in the studio, I'm I need to be as real as possible, because that's how she was able to connect with people, and people could feel something listening to her music, So I think she's probably not just vocally, but artistry wise, just my biggest inspiration forever.
That's amazing. Now, what about a contemporary artist? Your voice is very similar. Is it a Maren Morris? What are we?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten a couple of comments of oh, you sound I get Clairo a lot. Clairo I listen to a lot. I'm biggest fan, go to her concerts, just crazy about her. So like I sound like Clara, which is like the biggest compliment ever because I like admire her so much. I oddly get Anna Kendrick a lot because
Yes, I think
yes,
so.
yes, I think it's because I've gotten that I look like her.
You
So
do a
it's
little
like
bit. Mhm.
it's so weird, and I don't see it, but I've had people come up to me in the airport and been like all up in my face, and I'm like, nope, I'm not her. Like it's not who you think it is.
That's so
Or like
funny.
I'll see like cameras like in the grocery store. I'm like, this is so weird. This is so weird. Like I'm not Anna Kendrick. But yeah, and so I think because I look like her, people are like, oh my gosh, you sound like that girl in Pitch Perfect. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, like she's talented. I'll take it and beautiful.
Right.
So I'm like, that's a compliment. But I get that quite a lot, quite a lot. So yeah.
Isn't that interesting how you're trying to kind of pave your own personality and yet you've got so many similarities to I think it's a good sign. I think once you
Okay.
get all this put together, you will just come out and just show everybody, yeah, I'm a little bit of that, I'm a little bit of that, I'm a little bit of that, but I'm all me,
Right, right.
right?
Yes, of course, of course.
So
Mhm.
now what your dad, and I'll just tell you between you and me, he's like, Dana, you've got to tell me what questions you're going to ask her, and I won't be there. And I'm like, Randy, I can tell already just by watching her sing on your YouTube, she's fine, and you are. But he is such a proud dad. I have to
He
tell you
is
that he is. But you've got
very
to
much.
just tell him to calm down. You're going to be okay.
I said that in the car today. He was like, if you need anything, just call me. And just like if you need have questions or whatever. I'm like, Dad, breathe. Like he's more nervous than I am.
He is. He is. I'm just, it's first of all, it's great to meet you because you're nothing like your
You
dad.
too.
No, I'm kidding. But I loved having talks with him. But he is, on the clock and you're very relaxed.
Oh yeah.
And and so I think this is going to serve you well. You seem very organized. I know your dad is too, but you've just got this presence about you that's
Oh,
not of a 15-year-old. So what are you going into 10th grade or 11th grade?
in 10th grade, yes,
In
ma'am.
10th grade, yeah. That's you're very young, but I know mom and dad have surrounded you with opportunity. So it's
Oh, of
helped
course.
you, yeah, to feel
Oh,
very confident.
yes. They've definitely both of my parents are public speakers. My dad, of course, is like in entertainment industry. My mom like helped me with all my speeches. Like I do speech and debate, so she's always like on
Oh,
top of me about like you know like being comfortable with a crowd. So
yeah,
being able to public speak, and that goes into singing and performing, like those types of things. I've been able to become more comfortable because of my parents like
yeah,
influence
yeah.
on me. So
The
yeah.
one video that I love where I think you sound a little bit, you're singing. It's not, is it complicated? What's the one song where you've got those amazing white boots on?
Oh, I love those boots. It's
So do I.
Common
Common.
by Maren Morris.
Yes,
Yes.
Maren Morris. I mean, that's where I saw this is not an insecure girl. This is a very confident, really enjoying. You were just enjoying what you had to offer. And I love that.
Mhm.
And I love the way the camera panned up from those boots. And I'm like,
I
man, that
love
was
that.
good.
I was
Yeah.
like, I had just got those boots and I told the like videographer, I was like, do you think you can like get my boots in the shot? And she was like, I got you. And I was like, yes.
You're
I'm
talking to
so
the
excited.
boot queen. I mean, boots are my life. I will wear the same outfit every day, but man, I'm going to have a different pair of boots on. I can't wait for the winter so I can wear boots, you know?
Oh my God.
Yes. That is
That's
amazing.
so
Now,
funny.
how can people find you? I know I kept asking your dad, send me this, send me this. You're just starting to kind of compile your videos and you've got
Yes.
a great sense of design, which maybe comes from your mom or dad. I don't know. Maybe it's just your own research that has created this. It's very elegant. It's
Oh,
beautiful. Very
thank you.
nice.
Thank
So
you.
where can we find you?
Right. So I'm on Instagram at Selena Zenith Music, on YouTube at Selena Zenith. If you really want to find me anywhere, like streaming services, Apple, Spotify, and Pandora app, like all that stuff, I'm at Selena Zenith. So that's just like my that I go by, like my name that I go by. So all socials, all that jazz. So yeah.
That's excellent. And when you do your theater, is this musical theater?
Yes, I'm joining this year. I have not done theater since middle school, so I
Wow.
decided to join this year. I'm really excited.
Do you know what the play is, what the lead role is, something that you might be singing?
I have no idea. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of like the idea of not knowing though. It makes it more
Yeah.
like exciting. I like the
Yeah.
spontaneous like energy.
I love it. I love it. Have you done musical theater, maybe in churches or
Mhm.
community theaters around?
Yeah, I did it. I did it once in whenever I was in middle school just to kind of like explore acting and singing.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed it. And then I think I just like stopped for I don't really remember why. I just like didn't do it again. In my freshman year, I was like, you're just starting out and you don't want to like I was already doing so many things and I was just like, "Oh, I'll save it for later." And I watched the musical that our school did and I was like, "Oh, I've missed this. Like I need to do this like so
That's
bad."
so great.
I love the community of it and how everyone just like works together to create
Right.
just like something really cool.
It is. I loved theater in school, didn't have a voice for it, but I could speak it. The fact that you
Mhm.
can do musical theater is just so,
Right.
so good. What advice? I always love talking to teenagers, young adults who have just figured out a way. Life isn't easy. You have your ups and downs, but what is your approach daily to keep you motivated, to keep you upbeat? You could focus on the negative, but you've chosen to go the positive. What
Mhm.
advice would you give?
Right. I always like live by this quote. Anytime I start second guessing myself or like overthinking it, my mom says it to me all the time. And it's uh, if you don't want criticism, say nothing, be nothing. So basically saying like if you don't want people like you don't want people to come after you, don't do anything. Just like stand in the back, but you're not going to get anywhere. So if you put yourself out there, people are going to come at you from all sorts of angles. People are already coming at me from all sorts of angles. And not just like in music, but in life. And that's what influences my music. So it's just you have to take that, turn it into something positive and put that energy into what motivates you, into what's going to bring you further.
That is excellent. I love that. My husband always says 50% of people are going to love you, 50% of people are going to hate you. So just be
True.
you. Don't worry about
True.
it. Right?
Exactly, exactly,
That
yes.
is so good.
Yes.
How about your outfits, your style, your hair? You are going to do something very visible. You understand that. Do you
Uh-huh.
care? Are you crafting an image, or are
Mhm,
you just going to be like that TV show The Voice? Look, it's about my voice and I'm not going to craft any kind of look. Because for me,
mhm,
I love crafting a look because I think for me that's part of it. That's part of the fun.
right.
How will it
Yeah.
be for you? Because you've got to have an image.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree. I think, like, especially with teenage girls, and I write a lot about this, there's a lot of expectations held on us on the way we should look, on the way that we should act, on how we should appear. So I think growing up, I was just constantly trying to stick with the trends and fit in. But like as I got into high school, I was just like, it is so much work trying to keep up with everything that's trending. Like the popularity of like clothes and looks, I'm like, I can't keep up with this. Like, I don't have time. So, crafting my image as an artist, I kind of just keep with like, it sounds kind of weird, but like the vibe of the music that I write, I just like, what does it look like? What do I want to appear as? And so, I kind of craft that into like my aesthetics in my studio, even in the way I dress and the way I look and kind of just like wearing what I feel comfortable in. But definitely, like, I do think the way you appear, we like naturally, we're humans, we're judgmental. Like, I think everyone has a little bit of judgment in them. So, whenever people are seeing me on social media, they see, like, oh, young girl, guitar, like, know, singing a little cover, singing a little song, like whatever. But if you go like and you look into my personality, you can see like I really like to be professional. I like to relate to people. So like I don't think just my appearance and like will reflect my artistry, but it definitely does sum up who I am as a person.
I love that. That's perfectly said. Perfectly said. Now, when you're not doing school, you're not doing all the fun things. Do you watch TV? Do you like movies? Are there any other interests that kind of create this full, happy life that you have created yourself?
Oh yeah. I will say I'm really bad at being like, my friends always joke around. They're like, your only personality trait is like a musician. And I'm like, that's kind of true. Like it is like the one thing I can talk about. So like all my stories are from like in the studio and they're just like, Selena, like no, like no one understands what you're saying. But I do a lot of like I like to go like on walks like with my friends and we like to get coffee. And so like I don't spend a lot of time like watching TV or like watching shows. I am a Stranger Things fanatic. I
Oh
love Stranger
gosh.
Things.
So what's the lady?
Oh,
Wait, the lady who's now doing the song, she was an artist, what, in the 70s, and now she's like on the top 100 charts.
Kate Bush.
Yes.
I
Tell me
love
your
Kate
thoughts
Bush.
on Kate Bush.
Oh my gosh, Kate Bush. Okay, so actually, I had been listening to her for a little bit and then I stopped and I was watching it and I was like, I know this song. Like, I know this song. And I was, oh my gosh, it's Kate Bush. And so I am like so excited that she's just like back on top because I've like been listening to her for a while. And I'm like, yeah, she kind of like faded out. She didn't really like, there's nothing that really happened. And then like, boom, just like, that is so cool. I think that is so cool that like a TV show like got your song like back on the charts like so many years later. Like that is just, that blows my mind.
Who would have thought, right?
I
Who would
know.
have thought? And she's got to
Yeah.
be thinking, how did this even happen to me? Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
I love movies and I love theme songs. And I would like, for me, one day I'm going to write a movie and I've already got all my ideas. And I'm thinking, I love
Yes, it's so
listening to the
exciting.
70s. Do you ever listen to the
Yeah.
70s?
Oh,
Music from the 70s.
oh, when I like my whole like office right now is themed like 70s. I have a bunch of 70s vinyl like on my wall currently. Like those like CCR is probably like my major like ride or die could listen to forever. Every song that I play on the guitar like for practicing or sound checks, it is a CCR song like
That is
100%.
amazing. That is
I
amazing.
love it.
Now, is it because your dad and mom introduced it to you, or were you just going through decades and just
I
listening?
Yeah, I was told by one of my coaches like you got to listen to all different genres and I was sticking to my one genre and they're like you have to be listening to all different kinds. So I was like I'm really into like alternative rock and it came up on like alternative, it was like a playlist. It was like alternative rock like originals and a bunch of CCR was on there and I was like this stuff is good. Like oh my gosh, like this is really good. So it is like now just oh my gosh, like they just give me chills. Every song by them just gives me
That is
chills.
amazing. You download the iHeartRadio app, and I'm going to plug my company and your dad's company, but there's this 70s channel. It is so good. And I just,
Okay.
it really just relaxes me and makes me. Now we do our 80s weekend on Sunny, and I love that music too. But I was like 10 and 12 in the 70s. So I remember events in my life when I was a little bit younger than you that were just amazing and fantastic. I mean, we wore maxi dresses and I loved fashion back then. I had long hair and some of the music was just, and the words, the lyrics, it's like, we didn't have cell phones then. So it was
Yeah.
such a different time
Oh
not
yeah.
that long ago.
Oh yeah. I love that. Like the also like music dating, especially in the 70s, 80s is also like of course amazing, but 70s, I think it was before we started like modernizing everything. So
Yes.
going back to music then and thinking about just like their lyrics, oh my god, like you're totally right. Like everything is just so real. There's nothing about like it wasn't like social media based or based off of trends or anything like that. Like
Right.
they wrote music that they were feeling, not
Yep.
what they wanted other people. Like they weren't creating music for that other people. They were doing it out of their hearts. And I
there
think that's
wasn't
like
there wasn't this strategy, right?
yes.
And radio stations would play individual songs and not the,
Yeah.
we're so big now, and big works too. I was telling my husband the other day, people got mad at radio that now it's more scientific. We play
Hmm.
songs that test well, and
Hmm.
and they do, and it's a great product. But back then, you could walk into a smaller radio station and, hey, could you play my song? Like you'd be able to do that back in the 70s,
Hmm.
and if the
Yes.
DJ liked you, you'd strike up a relationship and it would be a really cool experience. But it radio, the thing that's so cool about radio is it is a platform. And whether you're scientifically determining what music's going to play, or if someone walked into a studio years ago, the DJ still has a communication platform and can still convey the message of the artist. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I love so much about it. I mean, radio to me is magical. And I'm going to tell you, we had a guy come in who was teaching us about this new in the cloud way of doing our radio show. It's going to be in the cloud, not on a computer, in the cloud. And he's in an Uber going back to the airport. And he says, Dana, Sarah from Spring Branch is listening to you right now. She loves the station. So I had Anthony, my producer, pull up Hall & Oates' Sarah Smile, because I love that
Oh,
song. We
I
played it for
love
her, and we were just like, Sarah, we're so glad you're listening. Take good care of Andrew. He's a great guy, and so glad you listen. We love our Uber drivers. She was in tears. She was in tears. Same
oh,
exact thing all these years later, with all the technology that I was able to do for Sarah in her car that we
right.
did years ago, despite cell phones and everything. It was the same thing. And that's the same thing with you singing music. The
Right.
technology hasn't changed your heart and the
Mm-hmm.
message that you can convey if you stay
Right.
true to it, right?
Right. Right. It's definitely something that sometimes I'll be like you do like co-writes with other people, or like songwrite, like you're showing like uh managers or like producers what your songs are. And sometimes I do get like, Selena, like this is very vulnerable. Like this is a lot,
Yes.
like for a listener to take on. And I'm like, and like, so like someone's gonna like relate to it. And I've gotten a couple people being like, yeah, like I think it's just like a little much. And I'm just like, but like, no, if I can't be honest, like, who is going to be honest,
Right,
if
right.
because then you just feel all like, you feel like you're alone, so someone else is feeling the same thing that I'm feeling. And if I
Yes.
can make them feel like I'm just like wrapping my arms around them, like I'm just giving them a big hug, because I've had artists do that for me, and that is just something that I want to do for other people.
That's amazing. You know, our producer, Anthony, he did a lot of singing at clubs at night before COVID came in. And then
Mm.
he kind of shifted his life. And now he's got this girlfriend. He spends time with her instead, which is great. But he said to me, and I wanted to ask you this, how far do you want to go with this? Because he
Mm.
loved your voice. And as a matter of fact, I was playing on my phone one of your songs, and I was out of the room, and my husband's listening. He's like, who are you listening to? Because he always, what's that app where it can Shazams? He always Shazams people. And so I'm like, that's Randy Lemon's daughter. Isn't that amazing? He's like,
So
she's really
funny.
good. He was trying to Shazam you.
Yes. Okay. That's so funny you said that, because my Apple Music went off the other day and it was like, you just got like Shazams, like this many Shazams. And I was like, that's weird.
Isn't
Like,
that funny?
it's
So,
so
I mean,
funny.
is this it? Or is this like, this is just a phase I'm going through and I want to be a teacher?
Yeah, I get that a lot. It's like my biggest pet peeve is talking to like adults or teachers. Like, what do you want to do when you're older? And I want to be a songwriter. I want to go into producing and music business, and like go into label ownership. So rather than like just releasing my own music, but helping other artists like express themselves through their music. So that's my ultimate
That's
goal.
awesome.
But I do get the comment like, well, what do you really want to do? Like, that's a hobby, but like, what are you actually going to do? And I'm like, I'm actually going to do it. And I do get like, aren't you a little too young to be like releasing? Like, you're going to look back and like regret what you released. And I'm just like, honestly, there's no perfect time to be releasing your own music. I'm like,
Right.
it's here. I'm like, I'm in the now, like currently. When is there going to be the perfect time? So I think that I'm just like, if I have it all lined up, I'm just going to keep on releasing, and I have stuff planned. So I'm going to keep on writing, going to keep on producing, keep on recording, and just see where it takes me.
I love it. And I love your middle name. Where'd the Zenith come from? That is beautiful.
Yes.
Selena Zenith. It really is pretty.
Yes, I love my middle name. Fun fact, I used to hate it. I used to cry about it, because when we were little, like we used to like share like our middle names, and everyone's middle name would be like Marie or like Ella. And I was like, here was Zenith, which no one knew what that meant. And so my mom named me Selena Zenith, because Zenith means at the time that someone is most successful. So, or like whenever you reach the top. So basically saying like my daughter is like going to just be like success, like she's just going to be at her peak, you know? And so I would cry to my mom and be like, why didn't you name me something normal? And she was just like, Selena, calm down. Like, it's okay.
It's all
And
going to be
as
okay.
as I got older, I realized like, hey, like no one else has this, you know, like this is kind of cool. So I decided to go with my middle name because I was like, there's no Selena Zenith that I know of, you know?
I love it. I love it. You're a smart
Mhm.
young lady, and you just have such joy and presence about you that
Thank
you know
you.
you'll be fine and you'll do great, and you are going to attract people who just want to be part of your party because it's going to be pretty
Mm.
incredible. And you don't seem to get stressed out. I mean, you seem like you can handle, yeah, there's a vulnerability, and probably when you connect with people and they love what you've got and you're like, you get so excited. I'll never forget Mark Anthony always had to have a big bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken after his concerts to calm him down. Like he still hasn't put on any weight, but he needed to calm down after a performance, you know?
Mm,
You seem like
yes.
you're pretty level-headed, whether you're on stage, whether you're off stage. I don't see that like you turning to things to calm you down. You just seem
Right.
like you'll be able to kind of use your rational side of your brain and say, we just did that, let's move on to this, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Music is definitely my biggest stress reliever. So it's not something that I try to get stressed about because it is the
Good.
one thing that relieves my stress. So if I'm
That's so
anxious,
good.
I go straight to writing a song. Like just like for some people, they like journal. Like my idea of journaling is just like writing a song. So it's just like entry after entry.
Is there a particular school you want to go to? What is that school? Is it in Boston, that music
Yes.
school?
Berkeley
Berkeley,
College of
yeah.
Music.
Yep.
Yes, that is I like Berkeley a lot. I have not toured it, but I really like it. It's intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. It's very intimidating. But I also am looking at NYU because they have a really cool music program with Clive Davis, who is like one of my biggest inspirations in producing. And then I also am looking at Belmont because it's also a Christian school, and I am a Christian. I grew up going in going to a private school, so I think that would be pretty cool to be around like. And it's still in like the South, so I'd be close to home. But I
Right, right.
definitely want to go up to the Northeast. I'm a big New York City lover. I love the city. I love like lights and just like, you know, like constant noise. Like I just love that. That just
I
gets me so
I
excited.
grew up in New York City and I'm glad I'm
Oh,
here, but you have to go through your phase. You got to go through your
yes.
phase. I get it. I will tell you, Kelly Ripa, you know, Kelly and Ryan, the
Mm-hmm.
TV show Kelly and Ryan, her
Yes.
daughter's a singer, Lola. Lola
Mm.
went to NYU and she put out, and she's a very humble girl, beautiful voice. You need to check her out. She did a song where you didn't see her. It was probably a project that was required at NYU. She's in a bathroom singing because of the acoustics. It was
Yes.
unbelievable. If you go to her, I think she's the youngest one is her handle on her Instagram. She's got a
Okay.
very unique, beautiful voice that she
Okay.
kind of keeps to herself. She doesn't use her mom's fame or anything, but
That's
she
so
went
cool.
through that NYU program as well that you're talking about.
Yes. I think
So,
it's a great program. I know a lot of people that go there for film and
yeah.
they just talk so highly of it. I think my parents are like a little scared to have me like in a big city, but I've gone there a couple times and every time I'm like I have to live here. Like I just
You
have
got to
to.
do it. You got to do it just to see whether you love it or hate it.
Right.
My husband and I were stockbrokers in New York when we met.
Mm.
He came there from Houston. And then after 2 years, he said, I hate it. And we moved back here. And that was the end of it. So, and I would have taken either way. I didn't care. I didn't, I mean, I love Houston. New York is just different.
Mhm.
And you know,
It
I'd
is.
recommend you check it out. My daughter went to college there and she's back
Oh,
here. So it's definitely got its tributes, that's for sure.
it does. Yes.
So, well,
Mhm.
you're just a delight. And tell us again the best way for people to hear your amazing music.
I would definitely say on my Instagram, I have every link in my bio. So if you just want to find everything in one place at Selena Zenith Music, I'm right there. Everything's set up for you.
You need to go on your dad's show and sing one Saturday morning, okay? You should. I'm surprised he hasn't invited you on this show. You know
I'll
how
talk to
many people
him.
would be, Randy, I can't believe she's your daughter, you know? She must take after her mom. I always
Yeah,
joke
he
with him.
definitely, he likes to like, he was like, I was in a musical in college, or I was in the choir. And we're like, okay, okay, buddy. We're like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like,
Now he's
good
an
job.
Aggie, right? He's an
He
Aggie.
is an Aggie. He
I
is an
thought
Aggie.
so. I thought so. And you
Yes.
won't be going to Texas A&M.
No, I'm not gonna stay in Texas.
You gotta
No.
gotta go spread your oats and go find yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but then we're gonna see you back home. Everyone always comes back home to Texas.
Everyone says that. They're like, you're gonna find your way back. And I'm like, I don't know.
You'll see. You'll see. Or Nashville. Nashville would be kind of a cool place to be too.
Yeah, it reminds me of
Love it
Texas
there.
a lot.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love it there. Well, you're a delight, and I'm
Yes.
so happy to talk with you. The best
Thank you
of
for
luck.
having me.
Hey,
It is
anytime you want to come sing on Sunny, you let me know. Do you do any Christmas music?
I do Christmas music. I've been working on a lot of
Well,
covers.
you let me know because we will have you come and sing when we shift to Christmas music. I love to
Oh,
have local singers on because it just gets everyone in the spirit. So you're more
right.
than
Yes.
welcome to come and visit us, okay?
Of course. Thank you so, so much. Also,
All right.
I wanted to congratulate you on your Radio Hall of Fame. That is so exciting. I was like, I saw that on Instagram and I was like, okay. I was like, whoa, that is so exciting. So
You know,
congratulations.
my grandpa did radio in Bennington, Vermont, Ross Wilson, WBTN, and he had this booming voice. And I was always like, radio's so cool. Like, how do they get that person in the car? That's what I remember thinking as a little girl. How is that person in the car? And then you end up in radio, and then other little kids are going, how is Dana in the car? You know, where did they put her? In the glove compartment? It's really funny.
That's so
Radio
funny.
is a cool thing when you're a little
Yes.
kid. It really
Oh,
is.
yes.
So,
Yes.
and singers have that same influence and power. So you keep it special for those kids. You're going to be a great role model, and just the best of success for you.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right, love. And thank you for your kindness, and give your dad a big hug from all of us.
I
Okay.
will. I
All
will.
right, love.
For
You
sure.
did great. Take care.
Thank you. You too.